Good morning, everyone, and thank you all so much for joining us to celebrate the Hull High School graduating class of 2020. I'm so honored not only to be up here addressing you as your salutatorian, but to be graduating with such an amazing group of individuals. The class of 2020 is the most distinctive group as we have endured more than our share of challenges. These experiences affected us deeply and shaped who we have become, but have not defined us. We have been defined by and will be remembered for our resilience, our commitment to each other, and our ability to persist and keep our heads held high. Let's go back in time a little bit, shall we? Our elementary school experience began with the Great Recession and ended with the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. We quickly realized the world was not the perfect utopian society our younger selves imagined, and teachers and parents began telling us, you are the future, and you can determine the world in which you live. Why they had such faith in us while we were walking around with 50 silly bands on one arm is beyond me, but nevertheless, they seem to see something in us that we do not yet see in ourselves. However, the future seems ages away, so we decided to focus on the present. We joined sports teams, participated in various Jasper programs, and made new friends who are still with us today. In our first year of middle school, we witnessed the Boston Marathon bombing and the anger and fear that erupted in the aftermath. We were beginning to understand the severity of climate change and the destruction of Earth's resources. Again, we were told, you are the future, and it is up to you to shape a different world. Which, of course, as angsty teens, seemed both unreasonable and unattainable. This was a huge responsibility for a 12-year-old, and perhaps because we weren't yet able to process all the implications, we distracted ourselves with more benign consequences, like whether a dress was black and blue or white and gold. It was black and blue. But to be completely honest, middle school was a tough time for everyone, and just getting through those years could be considered a success. Finally, we arrived at the high school, where our challenges became more internal, whether that be grieving after the loss of a loved one, or figuring out how to balance a job, schoolwork, friendships, sports, and other activities. We became leaders in extracurricular programs and activists within the broader community, and we took great pride in leaving our mark on the school. And then during our senior year, we suddenly found ourselves locked in our houses as both senioritis and COVID-19 swept across the nation. Yet, despite all of this, we made it. We are now at the threshold of the future that adults have prepared us for, in which we are given the opportunity to change and improve the world. Already, I witnessed our class do amazing things with the power of our voices. Looking out at this group of individuals, I see civil rights and environmental activists. I see students who want to raise awareness about eating disorders, animal cruelty, pollution, and mental health disorders. Students who stood up for those who were being bullied or discriminated against, and students who have transformed social media into a platform to make their voices heard, to educate others, and raise money for organizations that they found important. We have learned how to use our voices to fight for the future that we hope to live and leave for future generations. Yet, even though we know the type of world we hope to create, many questions remain unknown to us all. We stand here today wearing these awkward robes and funny-looking hats, pretending to have our whole lives planned out in front of us. But in reality, the future is full of uncertainties and unknown obstacles. Normally, we would have a commencement speaker here to reassure and inspire us, as they give us advice from their own personal experiences. Unfortunately, that is not possible this year, and while I may not be able to provide guidance through the eyes of a successful adult, I can provide 4 pieces of advice that I believe are beneficial to us all. Number 1, educate yourself. We have made it to this incredible milestone in our lives in which we celebrate the completion of 13 years of hard work and determination in school. We were privileged enough to receive an education, so we must not waste it. Continue to learn, and once you have done that, use your knowledge to enlighten others. Research and inform yourself about all sides of a topic before you take a stance, and people will take you more seriously. Just because you are young does not make you naive. But to make your voice heard, you must be well informed. An educated voice is always one worth listening to. Secondly, get off your phone. I know teachers and parents alike are constantly yelling at us for this, and you're probably tired of hearing it, but it's true. According to a 2019 study, teens spend an average of 7 hours and 22 minutes a day on their phone. That's 7 hours that could be used to complete schoolwork, practice a sport or instrument, socialize with friends and family, or maybe even learn something new. As a teenager myself, I would say that everyone could benefit from a bit less screen time, parents included. To my classmates, in a few short weeks, many of us are going to be parting ways as we head off to college or start new jobs. I implore you to please put away your phones and connect with others while staying safe, of course. Enjoy the nice weather and freedom before school starts back up again. To the parents and guardians, you have a few short weeks before your child leaves your house and begins the next chapter of their life. While you may be thrilled to have them out of your house, please turn off your phone and pretend to be upset. It will really help our self-esteem. My next piece of advice for you is to face any challenge that comes your way head on. There's a common saying, be the buffalo, and it's based off the idea that when a storm comes, you can choose how you will respond. For example, cows will run away from the storm, and it follows right behind them. Buffaloes, on the other hand, will run straight into the storm and get through it much quicker. There is, of course, a third option where you could sleep right through the storm, but I do not suggest taking this route because you will just remain stagnant and get soaked. The point is, when you face any fears or challenges, running away will never solve the problem. Letting the storms accumulate behind you will only tire you out. Instead, turn around and face them. Stop procrastinating and letting all of your responsibilities, fears, and obstacles pile up into a heavy mountain of stress. Face each one, and you will find a brighter day on the other side. And so that leaves me with my fourth and final piece of advice, which I would like to preface with a quote by Amy Poehler, in which she said, "Great people do things before they're ready. They do things before they know they can do it. Doing what you're afraid of, getting out of your comfort zone, taking risks like that, that's what life is. You might be really good, you might find out something about yourself that's really special, and if you're not good, who cares? You tried something. Now you know something about yourself." Throughout life, you are going to be able to find hundreds of excuses as to why you should not do something. However, if you can come up with one good reason as to why you should, then it's worth it. So my advice for you is to take the risk. You may not feel ready, and that's okay. Maybe you fear what others will think about you or that you will fail. However, in the end, you will regret it a lot more if you do not take the chance than if you try and fail. So try out for that sports team, audition for the play you were interested in, apply for the job that you've always wanted, and do what makes you happy. This chapter of our lives may be ending, but a new one is just beginning, and it is up to you and you alone to decide what comes next in your book. Our whole lives we were told, you are the future, and you can determine the world in which you live. Well, now the future has arrived, and it's finally our time. It's our time to shape not only our own lives, but the world. It's time to show that we are not just teens addicted to our phones and TikTok, but a group of young adults ready to face any challenges that come our way. It's time to show everyone what the class of 2020 is made of. So look out, world, because we are the future, and we are here to make a change for the better. We are the Buffalo. Thank you.